Hi everyone! In this video, let's talk about autumn wedding ideas. I'm particularly in love with this season for weddings because autumn gives you so many beautiful opportunities to create something really special and unique for your celebration. Of course, autumn looks different depending on where you live and plan your wedding celebration. Yeah, autumn is not the same all over the world. I'm mainly talking about European autumn, and in particular I live in Switzerland, which might just inspire you for a destination autumn wedding in the Swiss mountains, countryside, or in a beautiful Swiss city like, for example, Lucerne. My own wedding celebration was in autumn as well, but in Moscow 10 years ago. And I can tell you that this season offers so much natural beauty that you don't need to spend a lot of money on decorations. The colors are already there, the atmosphere is already magical, and you just need to know how to use all these gifts that nature provides during this time. Of course, autumn weddings also come with some challenges that you need to think about in advance. But I'm going to share with you all the ideas and tips that worked perfectly for our celebration. So if you're planning an autumn wedding, this video is definitely for you. Let's dive in and explore all the beautiful possibilities this season offers. The first thing I want to talk about is colors, because autumn naturally provides the most beautiful color palette for your wedding. I personally think that autumn colors are much more interesting than any other season because you have so many options to choose from. For our wedding, we used soft blush pink and warm peach as our main colors. And then we added sage green and warm white accents. But you could also go with deep burgundy and soft blush pink, or maybe deep navy with copper details. The beauty of autumn is that you can choose warmer, richer colors that feel really cozy and romantic. What I particularly love about autumn colors is that they photograph beautifully. You know, when you look at wedding photos taken in autumn, the natural background already provides so much depth and richness. We didn't need to worry about creating artificial backdrops because the trees and landscape did all the work for us. I would suggest to choose two main colors and then add one or two accent colors. This way, your wedding will feel coordinated but not too, matchy-matchy. And remember, you can always use different shades of the same color. Maybe light peach or with deeper coral, or soft blush with deeper rose tones, or even cream with rich golden yellows. Now, let's talk about flowers. Again, for our wedding we used peonies and roses as our main flowers, creating these lush romantic arrangements. We mixed different shades from soft blush peonies to deeper rose tones, along with some coral and peach roses for warmth. But autumn also gives you beautiful options like dahlias, chrysanthemums, marigolds, asters, and even wheat stalks or dried grasses. These flowers have much more character than typical spring flowers, and then create such beautiful texture in arrangements. What I personally really like about autumn flower arrangements is that you can mix fresh flowers with natural elements like eucalyptus, seasonal foliage, and branches. We used eucalyptus and other greenery throughout our arrangements, which added that perfect autumn touch and lovely scent. The combination of soft romantic flowers with the natural elements looks amazing and felt very seasonal. Another idea that worked really well for us was using elegant candelabras and varied heights in our centerpieces. You can also incorporate small pumpkins and gourds as part of your table decoration, Or haul out small pumpkins and use them as vases for flowers. After the wedding, guests could take this home, so it's like, a favor and decoration at the same time. If you want to save money on flowers, autumn is perfect because you can use so many natural elements. Eucalyptus and seasonal branches can really extend your arrangements beautifully without adding much cost. Autumn ceremonies can be absolutely magical if you plan them right. I personally think that autumn gives you the best atmosphere for outdoor ceremonies, because the temperature is comfortable and the natural beauty is incredible. I suggest to choose a late afternoon timing around 4 p.m. because this gives you the most beautiful golden light. Autumn sunlight is different from summer light. It's softer and warmer, and it makes everyone look amazing in the photos. One thing that can work really well is providing warm drinks for guests during the ceremony. For example, you could have a small station with hot apple cider and coffee before the ceremony started. Guests really appreciate this, especially since autumn weather can be unpredictable. If you're worried about cold weather, you could provide blankets for your guests. You can find beautiful plaid blankets that match your color scheme, and guests could keep them as favors. It looks really cozy in photos and makes sure everyone is comfortable. Another idea I love is using lanterns or string lights for your ceremony decor. In autumn, the days get shorter, so if you have an evening ceremony, these lights create such a romantic atmosphere. You could use battery-operated lanterns along the aisle, and it will look something from a fairy tale. Food is such an important part of any wedding. But in autumn, you have also so many delicious seasonal options that your guests will really enjoy. I personally think autumn food is the most comforting and satisfying. For your wedding menu, you could include seasonal dishes like butternut squash soup as a starter, roasted root vegetables, and apple stuffed chicken. These dishes feel perfect for the season, and they are more filling than typical summer wedding food. For drinks, autumn gives you amazing options for signature cocktails. You could serve warm spiced cider with rum, and I'm sure it's gonna be such a hit. You could also do mulled wine, hot toddies, or even hot chocolate with different flavors for dessert. These warm drinks are perfect when the weather gets cooler. And of course, don't forget about dessert. Autumn is the season for apple pie, pumpkin cakes, caramel treats, and cinnamon everything. You might still want to have a traditional cake for your autumn wedding, that's exactly what we did, but think about also providing a dessert table with mini apple pies and pumpkin cookies in addition to a wedding cake. I'm sure guests will love having the seasonal options. And one idea that I particularly really like is having a hot chocolate bar at the end of the reception. Guests can make their own hot chocolate with different toppings like marshmallows, whipped cream, and cinnamon. In my opinion, it's a perfect way to end an autumn celebration and it gives people something warm before they go outside. This is something you absolutely must think about for autumn wedding. The weather can be really unpredictable during this season, and preparation is everything. First, always have an indoor backup plan for outdoor ceremonies. Even if the forecast looks good, autumn weather can change quickly. For reception planning, think about temperature changes throughout the day. In autumn, it might be warm during afternoon photos, but much cooler by evening reception time. Rain, of course, is always possible in autumn, so make sure you have umbrellas available. You could buy several large white umbrellas that could actually look really romantic in your photos. Sometimes unexpected weather creates the most beautiful moments. I would also suggest having a backup plan for any outdoor activities you are planning. If you want to have cocktail hour in garden, Make sure there is an indoor space available if needed. Your guests should be comfortable, no matter what the weather does. Autumn gives you so many beautiful options for flavors that feel seasonal and special. For example, you can give your guests small jars of homemade apple butter with custom labels. This is something I'm sure you can do by yourself. It feels very autumn-like, and guests could actually use it at home. I'm sure your guests will enjoy it with their morning toast and think of your wedding. Other autumn flavor ideas that I really like include small bottles of maple syrup, packets of mullein spices for warm drinks, or little bags of caramel popcorn. You could also do mini pumpkin scented candles or small potted mums that guests can plant in their gardens. One idea that worked really well at a friend's autumn wedding celebration was giving guests packets of spring bulb seeds. The message was something like, "Plant this now and think of our love when they bloom in spring." It's such a sweet way to extend the memory of your wedding into the next season. And if you want to do something more personal, you could create custom spice blends for autumn cooking. Maybe a pumpkin spice mix or a blend for roasting vegetables. Package them in small jars with recipes attached, and guests will think of your wedding every time they cook with them. I'm particularly really excited about this topic because autumn provides the most amazing natural backgrounds for wedding photography. You don't need to spend money on fancy backdrops when nature is already providing everything. For our wedding photos, we use a beautiful fall foliage as our backdrop. The golden and red leaves created such a romantic setting, and every photo looked like it was professionally staged. We took photos in a nearby park, and the natural lighting was absolutely perfect. One thing I personally really love about autumn wedding photography is the golden hour light. In autumn, this beautiful soft light lasts longer because the sun is lower in the sky. We planned our couple photos for late afternoon, and the lighting was dreamy. Don't forget about using autumn elements as props in your photos. You could bring a vintage wooden ladder and use it with some fall foliage for interesting shots. You could also use blankets, lanterns, or even wheelbarrow filled with pumpkins and flowers. For getting ready photos, autumn gives you opportunities to include seasonal details. Make photos of your bouquet with fallen leaves, or shots of your wedding shoes with acorns around them. These little seasonal touches make your photos feel really connected to the time of the year. I would suggest planning extra time for outdoor photos in autumn because you'll want to capture all the beautiful natural settings, but also have an indoor backup plan in case the weather doesn't cooperate. Autumn weddings give you some really unique entertainment options that you can't do during other seasons. I personally think these activities make autumn wedding feel extra special and memorable for guests. One idea that you could use for your wedding is a bonfire area during cocktail hour. Guests could gather around the fire, roast marshmallows, and warm up if the evening got cool. It creates such a cozy atmosphere, and people naturally start conversations around the fire. You could also set up autumn activities like a cider tasting station where guests can try different types of apple cider, or even learn to make their own spiced cider blend. This gives people something interactive to do and creates great conversation starters. For evening entertainment, consider hiring acoustic musicians who can play around a fire pit or in a cozy indoor setting. The intimate, warm feeling of autumn is perfect for this type of music rather than loud party bands. Another idea I particularly really like is having a pie bar instead of or in addition to a traditional wedding cake. Autumn is pie season, and you could offer apple pie, pumpkin pie, pecan pie, and maybe some savory options too. Guests love having choices, and it feels so perfectly seasonal. If you have space and budget, you could even organize a small farmer market setup during cocktail hour with local autumn produce, artisanal goods, and maybe some live demonstrations of seasonal cooking techniques. Let's talk about what to wear for autumn weddings, because this season has some specific considerations that can make or break your comfort on your wedding day. For the bride, I personally think autumn is perfect for long-sleeved wedding dresses or dresses with beautiful lace details. This season naturally calls for more coverage, and you can choose fabrics like velvet, satin, or heavier lace that would be too warm in summer. We also need to think about layers. For our wedding, it was warm enough, so I only had a long-sleeve wedding dress, but you might also need to think about beautiful full stole for outdoor photos and ceremony. It will look elegant and keep you warm, plus it creates some really stunning photo opportunities. You could also consider a stylish jacket or wrap that coordinates with your dress. For the wedding party, autumn allows for richer, deeper colors in bridesmaid dresses. Think about burgundy, forest green, navy blue, or even mustard yellow. These colors look amazing with autumn backgrounds and feel appropriate for the season. Don't forget about shoes. Autumn weather might mean wet leaves or muddy ground, so choose shoes that can handle outdoor conditions if you are planning outdoor photos. You might want to have a backup flat shoes for walking through the park during your photo session. For male members of the wedding party, autumn is great for incorporating seasonal accessories like pocket squares in autumn colors, boutonnieres with wheat or small berries, or even stylish vests under suit jackets. Most importantly, always have a backup plan for weather changes. Bring extra wraps, have umbrellas ready, and make sure everyone in your wedding party knows to dress in layers. Let me share some specific ways that choosing autumn for your wedding can actually help you save money while still creating something beautiful. I learned several of these tricks while planning our own celebration. So first, autumn is not peak wedding season in most places, which means you might be able to get better prices from vendors. We saved quite a bit on our venue because a Sunday in September goes with lower rates than Saturday summer bookings. For decorations, autumn is amazing for DIY projects using natural materials. You can collect beautiful fallen leaves, pine cones, and branches completely for free. Spend one weekend with your bridesmaids creating centerpieces using items you find in local parks. It is fun to do it together and save hundreds of dollars. Seasonal flowers are usually less expensive during their natural growing season. Chrysanthemums, sunflowers, and dahlias cost much less in autumn than importing spring flowers would. Plus, they last longer and look more appropriate for the season. For food and drinks, using seasonal ingredients can also save money. Autumn vegetables like squash and root vegetables are at their peak and most affordable. Seasonal fruits like apples and pears are perfect for desserts and cost less than out-of-season options. One budget tip that can work really well as well is to use potted mounts as centerpieces instead of cut flowers arrangements. After the wedding, guests could take them home to plant in their gardens. It can serve, again, as both decoration and wedding favor, saving you money on two different wedding expenses. The music and the entertainment for your autumn wedding should match the cozy, intimate feeling of the season. I learned during our wedding planning that autumn celebrations often work better with more intimate entertainment, rather than, big loud party styles. For ceremony music, consider, as I said already, acoustic guitar, violin, or even a small string quartet. These instruments sound beautiful in autumn settings and create the romantic atmosphere that works so well with seasonal decorations and natural backdrops. Maybe hire a jazz trio for the cocktail hour and it can be just perfect. The music is sophisticated enough for conversation, but still creates a celebratory mood. In my opinion, jazz and blues music somehow feels perfect for autumn. Maybe it's the rich, warm tones that match the season. For reception entertainment, consider activities that bring people together around cozy settings. You could have long games like cornhole and giant Jenga available during cocktail hour, and later in the evening you might want to organize some group activities around the fire pit area. One entertainment idea that I particularly really love for autumn weddings is having a storytelling corner where all the family members can share stories about the couple or family history. Autumn naturally feels like a season for sharing memories and family traditions. If you want dancing, choose music that matches the elegant, romantic feeling of autumn rather than high-energy summer party songs. Think about songs that make people want to sway together rather than jump around. It fits better with a seasonal atmosphere. Since we're talking about autumn weddings, let me share some ideas about connecting your honeymoon to the season. This can create a really beautiful flow from your wedding celebration into your married life together. Autumn is perfect for cozy honeymoon destinations. You could choose to come to Switzerland and stay in the mountains to enjoy cool weather after all the wedding excitement. Or you could also consider honeymoon activities like visiting wineries during harvest season, going to apple orchards, or staying in places known for their fall colors. These experiences extend the seasonal magic of your wedding into your honeymoon memories. For destination honeymoons, autumn can be a great time to visit places that are too hot in summer or too cold in winter. You could look at several European destinations that are perfect in autumn, not too crowded, beautiful weather, and much better prices than summer travel. One thing I like about autumn honeymoons is that you can pack cozy clothes and plan indoor activities for rainy days. After all the stress of wedding planning, sometimes the best honeymoon is one where you can relax together with books, good food, and no schedule to keep. If budget is a concern, remember that autumn is often shoulder season for many travel destinations, which means better hotel prices and fewer crowds. You can get more luxury for your money during this time of the year. So planning an autumn wedding celebration was one of the best decisions we made, and I hope these ideas inspire you to embrace everything this beautiful season offers for your celebration. Remember that autumn naturally provides so much beauty and atmosphere that you don't need to spend a lot of money to create something magical. Use the natural colors, embrace seasonal foods and drinks, and don't forget to plan for weather changes. Most importantly, autumn weddings have the special cozy feeling that brings people together. And there is something about the season that makes celebration feel more intimate and meaningful. If you found these autumn wedding ideas helpful, please give this video a thumb up and subscribe to the channel for more seasonal wedding planning advice. And I would like to hear about your autumn wedding plans or experiences. What seasonal elements are you most excited to include? Please share in the comments below. Until next time, happy autumn planning!